Okay, welcome to the beautiful world of cellulose insulation. We set up here with a trailer on site on a timber frame passive house. I quickly show you around. This is a medium-sized cellulose processing machine. Basically, the bags go into the hopper here. Inside is a shredder system that mixes it all up and shreds it up and fluffs it up. And it's a really good machine, I have to say. So we set that up now. To start with, I have a full radio remote control, which is really a lifesaver or game changer for me, because I can control the machine, I can control the speed of the shredder, I can control the pressure, the airflow. Yeah, on, off, air only, air mixed with material, it's all possible with it. So always the first thing is, or one of the first things is to hook up the receiver. Just goes in here, slot it on, and there's a little magnet on it, so I can just pin it on the machine. That's that set. Connected to the power. It's a 3-phase machine, so I'm running it off a 3-phase generator. This is the air inlet. The inlet hose always has to be outside, away from the dust, nice and clean. There's a filter in here that we clean every day before we start. And there's a couple of settings on the machine. I can preset the material amount manually by winding a slider open or close. So today we have it on fully open. There's kind of two little signs here. That's a lot of cellulose, that's little cellulose. We put that on 100%. Fully open, give it everything. So this is fully open now, so 100% material flow on the machine. There's another setting which is could be quite useful. The machine has 3 blowers, and I can preset if I want to install it with 1 blower, 2 blower, or all 3 blowers. So today we need 2 blowers. Everything else, that's just emergency off. Not really of interest yet. So we'll go around to the outside. So one of the real advantages of cellulose insulation is you don't carry the insulation into the house, but it goes through a pipe, and it's a 3-inch pipe that we have here. So we just grab the coil and hook it up to the machine. So all the connectors are super simple. It's all the kind of a clamp system. So just put a clamp over it and connect it to the machine. Okay, that's it. That's all connected now, nice and tight. And that's the setup from this side is finished. So we could move inside now and see where we install it and how we install it. We are inside the house now. This is where we will install the cellulose. Just a little recap. It's a timber frame, 600 centers, 40 centimeter deep. And air tightness is the Proclima Intello Plus membrane. The plus actually stands for a reinforcement in the membrane, which is made for blowing in cellulose in behind. So that just gives it that a little additional strength. Very important to have your service void. This is where the cables will be running without penetrating the membrane, but it also holds the air tightness membrane in place when I'm blowing in the cellulose. There is quite some pressure going in. It's pretty much all about the right density of installing it. And we express the density in kilogram per cubic meter. That's the term we are using. And different cellulose brands would give you different charts of what density you have to achieve in a build-up. So for example, the voids could be smaller or not as deep. You need a bit less density. Rule of thumb, the wider and the deeper and the steeper they are, the more density you need. So it's different on a roof again when you have it sloped, you know, because there's less risk of sagging than in a wall. So in a roof you can typically go a little lower. So for walls, they probably where you use the highest density. At 600 center, 40 centimeter deep, we aim for quite a high density, in at around 58 kilos per cubic meter, 60 kilos per cubic meter, in at around that bracket. Classic install of cellulose, or the way you install it most of the time, is by basically just using the hose that we brought in, and you cut a hole on top of the void that you intend to fill. So this is our void here, and maybe like a hand down from the top, and just a little X in it, just like that. And that's where we feed in the hose all the way down to the bottom. Now, to be sure that I am at the bottom and didn't hit a noggin or pipe or any obstacle in the way, it's good practice to just hold the hose here first until it just about touches the bottom, and then I mark it here. So when I bring in the hose and I reach that mark, I know I'm at the bottom of the void. And I mark it by just using a bit of tape. Yep. So that's it. It's another important detail, because the hose is already coiled up. It will always have a tendency not to be dead straight, but it's slightly curved. So what I do is I bring it in, and while it goes down, I keep twisting it. And by twisting it, the end will go kind of left and right and find its way all the way to the bottom. Keep twisting, keep twisting, keep twisting. I reach the mark here, means I'm at the bottom, and I pull it just another hand back. So I don't want to start at the very bottom, but a little up from it. So that's all set now for filling the first void. And I get my remote control now and talk to you about setting and density. So how do we get the right density in the voids? How do I know I achieved 58, 60 kilos there? First of all, I have this ready remote control. I start it, and I have two charts or two lines here. Now the top would be the pressure of the machine, and I can set it in 20 steps. And the bottom would be the speed of the airlock, or the amount of material, and I can set that in 20 steps as well. So by fine-tuning between the pressure and the material flow, as in the higher the pressure, the higher the density in the void, the lower the material, the higher the density, I want to find a sweet spot where I have the right density at the right speed. So I typically have the material fairly high, and the air pressure is the first voids are based on training and experience. But how do I control it? How do I know I really have those 58 kilos in the void? So for that, I would measure a sample area, as in, you know, just take a couple of voids, measure the height, measure the width, and then multiply it by the depth of it, and maybe just subtract about 10 to 15% depending on the build-up for your timber, for your timbers that you have. So I get a figure then in cubic meters, let's say 5 cubic meters, and I count the bags that I put into the machine. Every bag is 12.5 kilos, and I fill the area that I calculated and calculated against the bags used. And that gives me, okay, I used, let's say, 150 kilos of cellulose on this and this areas. That's so and so many cubic meters. And then between the two, it tells me basically to the kilo what my density is like in the void. Okay, so we're good to start now. Good mass, mandatory, FFP2s. Just put them on. And one little detail that helps as well is to reduce the dust level is to have something that seals around the hose in the hole. So it can be a foam pad, it can be, there's different solutions to it really. I like to use just a little bit of sheep wool, have it in my hand, bring it around here, hold it here, and then I start the machine and start filling it. Okay, and go. So I keep it running now until I feel the pressure building up in the hose. And you can also hear from the noise it's making in the void when it's reaching a complete fill. And it will eventually come to a stop. And ideally, just when it comes to a stop, I pull the hose a little bit and fill the next section, you could say. So this is a really big void here now, so it will take some time to fill the bottom. Okay, now I can hear the pressure building up. The noise in the void is changing a little bit. And you can also see the movement on the hose. And it's soon coming to a stop. Oh, found another bit of space there. Okay, what happens here is I basically filled the bottom, and when the pressure increases, it finds its way into the neighbor voids. So it starts filling up all the neighbor voids now as well. That's why it takes so long. I'm basically filling 3 voids here now at the same time. Oh, that came to a stop there now. So I pull it a bit and keep going. Cellulose install is a 2-man job. So while I'm filling the voids here, I have another man on the machine filling the hopper of the machine. Okay, just when I come to the top or the end of it, I move the hose around a little, just to make sure that I got every little bit, even poke a bit, and then switch it off. Push the last in a bit, close the hole, like that. And that's the first bay complete, and you can already feel it's a nice and tight, good dense install. First bit of quality control. If that feels weak, then the pressure wasn't enough. If it's too hard, then I would reduce the pressure, but this just feels spot on here. And that way you would just continue on now. Cut a hole, bring the hose in, repeat, repeat. And in between, you always do that quality control where you calculate the material used versus the volume that you filled to make sure you stay at the density that you aim for.